So last time we were able to get that our expression for when we have our interface for two perfectly our two perfect dielectrics, and when we crossed them, we were able to come up with expressions for D, relating D and A. I will give you a survey one of these days. Once I see your activity on whether I will make a survey and then you answer a couple of things about the course. You won't see anything going away. But if we now talk of the conductors, these are materials where for a given nucleus and the shells around, you have the electrons loosely connected. And I can take an example of an insulator being like secondary school, and take a conductor being an example like university. So in a university, you are all at the loose. It is Saturday night, you are out in the club. It is Tuesday, ladies' night, you are out in the club. The only one is a name card. And then women always complain, we are not equal. Why do they just ask ID for you not to pay, and then the guys are paying, and then you say you are equal? At university, you are off the hook. You can louse around, come in anytime, go anytime, and it seems normal. We can say that is the way conductors behave. Whereas when we look at insulators, like boarding secondary schools, it's tight. You are going to be out, they first give you a pass, you mention when you are coming back, you give a telephone number where you are going. You know, that's how tough it is, reason, etc. But we shall be interested in knowing what the properties of the perfect conductor will be, just to have, you know, both sides covered. We looked at perfect dielectrics whose interface didn't have any free surface charge density, the sigma free. Now we also want to know what would be the properties, the basic properties for a perfect conductor. So basic properties of a perfect conductor. Of a perfect conductor. But basically, what happens for a given material to conduct, and especially basically, it doesn't mean only about electricity. For example, why would a piece of nail be able to conduct heat across? You should have covered this in solid state physics, I guess. So you have, what does that mean? We have the atoms occupying what we call interstitial sites. And these atoms are having electrons who are on the loose. Now when you give some fire here, you excite these electrons and they start moving around. And as we did say in Drude's model, their motion is not streamlined. They are not like, it's like if now somebody came on the entrance and shot, made a shot, as in shot a gun, bullet. And I don't know what we would do. Some of you would knock these benches, others would think of taking out my camera. Those of you who have enough beef would want to box me in the scalp I gave him. So that's how random the motion of the electrons is exhibited. That without any other thing restricting these electrons, their motion becomes random due to what we call the thermal agitation. So this thermal agitation makes the electrons knock each other, or knock an atom, a neighboring atom, or knock the nucleus. And these knockings, every time it knocks, it loses its kinetic energy into heat energy. And that's why when you close your eyes and put your either metallic thing in the fire, you start feeling uncomfortable until when you release it. Because these electrons have ping-ponged all over within and transmitted the heat energy through losing it by kinetic. You know, they are heated, they are accelerated, they knock each other. And if you continue doing that, you reach a point where these electrons have disappeared far away and decided to disappear, and that's when you see metal doing what? Melting off. So that's how the concept of, that's why I talked about solid state physics, that those interstitial sites and how they are occupied, and how when an electron leaves a spot, you create what we call a hole. You did that in electronics when you studied about the P and N junctions. I mean, P-N junction, but the P and N materials, where when you make a junction and connect across, you have electrons leaving places. Just like if you have ever looked at a car moving, which has sport rims, instead you see the tires moving backwards, but the car is moving this way. You see that illusion. The issue is that if I was to walk, if we were in a line of soldiers and we walk, and every time when we lift our feet, we leave some significant place, like there is a spot on the ground, which is where our feet are. There's like a round circle, white circle. If we march in a very nice, comfortable way, if you are not so keen, you may seem as if these spots are moving on the back side. Just scroll on the computer. You go on the computer and open a document like the books I gave you and scroll them at a speed. And when you scroll them at a speed as they are still going, relax a bit. You see your eyes as if things are instead moving the other side. That's how when an electron leaves a place, it leaves a hole there. And this hole is always assumed to be the one now moving, taking the positive, the current, being responsible for the current. As the electron is going this way, the hole is going that way. And in the PN junction, you must have seen something of the sort. So in a conductor, when a conductor is perfect, what makes it perfect? It is deemed that inside the very perfect conductor, there is no electric field inside the conductor. So inside the conductor, the perfect conductor, E inside here there's no electric field inside. You only find electric field outside, and it is always perpendicular or normal to the tangent to the surface of the conductor. I can't draw all these arrows everywhere. So you can only find the electric field intensity on the outside. Inside there is nothing. So if E inside is equal to 0, would you find any charge inside? So the charge density inside is also 0. And what would be the potential inside? V would be equal to 0. And of course, all these are coming out because of the, if you have divergence of E equaling minus rho over epsilon naught, then B, or we can just say over epsilon for if we have this being permittivity. If we have that the E is equal to 0, the divergence of V0 will be, and so will be the rho. And we also know that for any given 2 points A and B, for example, within our conductor, our VB minus VA would be given by the integral from A to B, then minus E down here. And if E is equal to 0, this whole thing is equal to 0. And then we would have VB is equal to VA. And if VB is equal to VA, our V potential difference would be 0, because we are saying in actual sense that the potential is constant. And if it is constant, then the potential difference between any 2 points is equal to 0. So those are the properties of a perfect conductor, which I thought I would first make you understand. And this is because we are trying to look at perfect dielectric as we did, and also now rounding it up before we go to the energy associated with a given system of charges. And then this will be for conductor. Now that we know the behavior, the laws, and the equations to use, then it will be easy for us to know how the work is done around a given system. Because we looked at the Gauss's law, then we looked at the Poisson's equation, we looked at Laplace's equation, and then finally now we can look at the conductors. And then once we have known all this, then we shall look at the work done, and then the energy density, and then from there we shall go to the special techniques which we can use to solve simple potential problems. So a perfect conductor may be considered as a material, which contains an unlimited supply of completely free charges. Just like some of you are just free birds in your hostels and in your halls of residence.
You say that if the electrons inside are free, they are free electrons. So if we hit it and they start moving, can we have some electric field?
Yeah, but you see, an electric, that's why I insisted that these are ping-ponging, they are not moving in a logical manner. And that's why you normally see soldiers looking smart on a parade. But whereas the soldiers are perfect on a parade, the marathon runners are chaotic. This one is running this side, he's going that side, another one is just walking. That's the principle behind that. You can only get an electric field if there is a uniform motion in a given direction. That's why, for example, when you are talking of the Hall effect, if you have the wafer, and this semiconductor wafer is put within the magnetic field and electric field. For example, if we put the current to move in this direction, we expect that electrons will be moving in this direction. Now, if we apply a field, that is, the current is in this direction, and then, because we are talking of the second finger, this being our current, and then we are having our first finger, so we can use this first finger for the field, and then the thumb would give us the motion where it would move. So I am having the finger, the first finger, the second finger, I have these ones, and then I have to draw this is ridiculous. This should have been a little bit bent like this. And this would then be like that. And these fingers are too huge. And then you have this one being up like that. So I'm just trying to, I think I almost fit there. These are only two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, once you place your fingers accordingly, so if we now put a field which is in this form to show that this is the back of the field, then we would have all the electrons repelled to the upper side. So we get electrons, if I take this face here, you would get all electrons being aligned here. So I would say electrons are being aligned up here. And normally, once you have played a slow song, and the girls have sneaked the other side, the guys will be left on the other side.
On the positive side.
Of course, the positive side. So when that happens, that's when we are able to get something out of this, which we call the Hall. Just like what you are talking about. But with the fire burning, these electrons, because of the thermal agitation, which I said here, they won't have any uniform motion. And to have a current moving or being created, or a field being created, is when they are actually moving in a uniform motion. But this one is going there and going, just like this, the way this, I'm going to talk about it again. Like the way these guys pray. If it was like in a Catholic church where they say, Heavenly Father, bless our, how do they say it? Let it be done in heaven as it will be done in, deliver us from evil, something like that. You can follow, but we hear someone. So the thermal agitation is too high that even if you wanted to be part, virtually like feel them, it is not able, you are not able to fit in. You are like, you are absent-minded. Because this one is, oh Lord, take all my problems. So that's the thermal agitation. But when you pass by like a church, like a Catholic church, when they're having a mass and they are now reciting the rosary, oh Holy Father, you really feel like you should, stop a bit and listen. Because there is that rhythm, and that rhythm could be almost what you are talking about as electric field. But what happens in our heated up conductor is exactly go So a conductor has an unlimited number of electrons, although they are off the hook, but they are enough to make sure that they are randomly moving around and they can transfer electricity or heat, whichever it is. So from this definition, of what a conductor is, the basic electrostatic properties, the basic electrostatic properties of ideal means perfect conductors are as follows. Remember when we were doing using the tau for the first time for the relaxation time, which is the time between two consecutive knock-ins or collisions, and then we talked about the drift velocity, and when we applied the electric field, we utilized the second Newton's law to find the motion of these electrons vis-a-vis the speed of the electrons due to thermal agitation. The V was the speed due to the thermal agitation, whereas the VD came in when they were being drifted because of the electric field. So the first property is that the electric field intensity is equal to 0 inside the conductor. And we can formulate an explanation which I have almost already done. And this is that when a conductor is placed in an external field, when a conductor is placed in an external field, inert, of course we get polarization taking place by getting induced charges. So charges of opposite sign shift to opposite sides, of the conductor in such a way as to produce an electric field intensity. You remember or you recall that when this slow dance or slow songs were played and the guys have drifted this way and the girls have shifted this other way, there happens to be now a tension, you know? That tension which came up by now when those guys would now start looking at their girls whom they would be hanging out with in the evenings to see whether they are positive. When they walk to them, they would give them the dance. And some of us who were cowards, how we would be waiting like vultures and hyenas to take the floor when everything has normalized. So that's the kind of tension, that is the kind of electric field that gets created. Just to give you an idea of how now the electric field becomes tense. And basically, when that field is created, and you now eventually come up and start, the floor is full, everything like positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, the flow becomes neutral, isn't it? The pressure goes down. But remember, there are the other guys who got left, like they are leftovers, and there are also maybe some ladies who may be leftovers. So any charge, remaining resides on the outside of the conductor. So if we got our conductor here, maybe I can draw a bigger one on this other side. So the conductor and this conductor here, if we put it in an external field, which we have called E naught, and of course, some of you may say now, how is this field coming about? We are talking of having the conductor here, and we can say that this is positive. Will this be positive, or we say this is a negative plate, and then have a positive plate here, and that means the field will be from positive to negative. And that's where the idea of positives being attracted to this other side and negatives being attracted here, but in the book or in my notes now, you are not going to see these plates in place. You're only going to see these, just like we did when we were working with orientational, ionic, and atomic polarizations. We did not draw the plates to show where we were getting the E naught equal to 0 and apply the applied electric field. We did not draw the plates, but that's the concept behind that. We shall have the shift of the positive charges on one side and the other side becoming negatively charged. And they will come up with an electric field inside, which we can call E1. And this one, sorry, is E naught, not the naught is at the bottom. So, of course, this is just trying to make ourselves comfortable that there is a created electric field and also there is an applied electric field. But in actual sense, what happens inside the conductor, the effective or the resultant electric field in density E would be equal to E1 added on E naught, because both of them are going through the conductor. There is one, remember, all these field lines are going through the conductor, and then we are having this E1 coming out. These are E naughts, E naught, you see. So inside, within the conductor, the effective electric field density there would be E1 added on E naught. And we know that since there are no other charges being planted into, actually E1 is opposite to E naught. So E1 is equal to minus E naught plus E naught. Because it is equal but opposite, and then therefore our E would be equal to 0. So we don't have effective electric field density inside a perfect or ideal conductor. So then the other property would be that the charge density inside the conductor is 0, and we have a reason for this. This follows from Gauss's law. This follows from Gauss's law. as I already said when I was trying to explain, where we have the divergence of E being equal to rho of epsilon naught. If we take that, I think the minus I put some time back was a mistake, because it only comes when we substitute for E equal to minus grad V, and that would have been for del squared V equal to minus rho of epsilon. That would be Poisson's equation, which Tanamano flashes if you have a region where there is no charge density. So if our electric field density inside is zero, inside the conductor, so also rho is equal to zero, and there is still charge around. There is still the other leftovers ladies on the other side, and guys on the other side, and leftover girls on the other side. So there is still charge around, but exactly as much plus, exactly as much plus charge as it is minus. So the net charge density in the area is zero. So when everyone is holding their nets in their small sum, you may think really there is no charge, but there is only equal and opposite charge on the floor. Things may seem, but of course the charge density will be zero. Saying that a metallic material like a metal is neutral doesn't mean that it doesn't have charge. Just because, like when I'm teaching you, you are really okay. If we were to have a mixed class of, like the way I talk when you guys are having ladies here is not the way I would talk if you were just a single sex class. The reason is that I talk, conscious of the gender and conscious of the other side. If you were all guys, I would give some crude examples even to understand them, which I cannot say when these ladies are there. And the same applies if the whole class was only ladies. But that wasn't my point. My point was, if you now got other people coming in, like if we had a cute fresher girl, walking in here, you will see how you become polarized. Because of that extra charge that will be coming in within the class. So see, any net charge resides on the surface of the conductor. That's the only place. I find this statement very crazy. That's the only place it can be. That is the only place it can be. So V is constant throughout the conductor. the conductor. And of course, if throughout the conductor it is constant, you can imagine what the surface of the conductor is called. An equipotential surface. Because at any point on the surface of the conductor, the potential will be constant, and we say that a surface where the potential is constant is called an equipotential surface. So, for if A and B are any 2 points, we then or on the surface of a given conductor, then VB minus VA will be equal to minus integral from A to B, E dot dl, and this should be equal to 0, because our E is equal to 0, and hence that would reduce the thing to VA equaling to VB. Thus, the surface of the conductor, is always an equipotential surface. The reason behind is that this statement of O on the surface, if A and B are on the surface, that's why we say that the surface of the conductor is an equipotential surface. Then the other one, which is that was D, so E, we have that the electric field intensity will always be perpendicular to the surface. So E is perpendicular to the surface, just outside the conductor. So we now know what a perfect electric is, we know what a perfect conductor is. Now let's move on to the energy of the collection of point charges. Energy due to a collection of charges. Energy,
Excuse me.
yes please.
What reason can we give to that part E?
A collection of point charges. Oh, this part you'll find in the book, a diagram like this, that the electric field intensity would always be perpendicular to the tangent to the surface. Because if you remember in the previous cases when we were looking at the radio outwards, so it is always outwards. This is a property that is always outwards and is perpendicular to the tangent to the surface. On the other hand, the tangential component to the surface is equal to 0. So the tangential component is equal to 0, but the perpendicular component is the one which is existing. The reason is that The electric field intensity is outwardly
Radius.
not radial. Radial means it is along the radius, right? It is outward perpendicular to the surface. But you can read more about it and see the appropriate explanation. But in the book you will find this diagram with all the E's everywhere. And so they shouldn't enter into like this because you don't have any electric field intensity inside. So it should be starting from the surface outwards. So and they are all perpendicular to the surface. So I'm going to use a very pertinent example. When a couple produces the firstborn, how many of you are firstborns? Now, when a couple produces a firstborn, he or she is comfortable. The toys are hers or his, everything, even the cakes they bring are for her or for him. Now when they pop the second one, struggles start. What used to be a full cake now becomes half. What used to be a consolidated environment for playing alone now becomes contaminated. You fix your things there, the other one splits them. If you now bring a third born, chaos begins. Chaos begins because now the first is already, the second one is already now okay. The first and the second start fighting for who can carry the other one. And the resources also start becoming minimal. Now if you are a good producer and you continue, issues become tight at home. And that's exactly what we are going to look at here. That when we bring in the first charge within a given vicinity, there is no work done really. Because why would you be doing any work? Firstborn normally is produced after a long time of fun. You're just having fun as a couple, either in a honeymoon or what, and then. But the second one is a second thought. If the first was a boy and you really want to have a change, you're always thinking, how are we going to produce a boy? If the first one was a girl, and if the second one becomes also a boy, you start now even reading magazines on how to produce the other sex. So, that's why I'm saying that the second one now thinks there's a lot of work to be done for producing the second born. So is the third born. So is the fourth. So when you introduce a charge in a free environment, the first charge you won't do any work with it. Now when you are bringing in the second charge, I didn't want to use the experience of campus because some of you may want to try it out. If you now going to bring another charge, if this one was positive, it will be repelling you. So when you are trying to place it somewhere and fix it there, you'll be feeling the repulsion if they are similar. If they are opposite, then you will be struggling also to, struggling against the attraction the other one is causing. Now you place it successfully, you bring another one, the struggle is even higher. If they were both positive and you are bringing a positive one, you are getting a double repulsion. So the work done to assemble a system of endpoint charges Q1, Q2, Q3, so on, up to Qn. It takes no work done. It takes no work done to bring in a fast charge. It takes no work done to bring in the fast charge, Q1. Since there is no electric field yet, so here you are with an empty space, for example. I'll just give you an insight. You are having this empty space, you want to introduce a charge, you pop it there, and immediately this charge produces an electric field. Let me now use an example I was resisting. It's like, okay, let's say, who is the Hajj here? Kamula. It's bad. You are who is Kamula? Kamula, just because you have it. So like a Hajj, when he gets the first wife, all is well. She's the Hajjat is the Haki, the first Haki. She's excited, everything. Hey, now I believe that you you report to yourself that actually you had somebody with the how do they call those things? No. Since you know something about the haki. So the first haki has no problems. She will come, everything will be nice. Now you have to bring another haki. You have really to, because of the electric field created around the house, you have to first make some negotiations. You say, you see, Hajat, we've gotten a lot of other shops. We really need to get someone to help you on the shops. And you know, that shop in Boyoge needs someone also to run it. So, but the first one, no problem. Great comfort. I use the Hajj issue because it's allowed in there. And if I use normally the normal case, I'll be in trouble. If you are going to bring a third haki, I think the maximum is 4. If you are bringing the third haki, you have not convinced me. You see, you have the other shop, she has this one, I opened another one in twice. We need someone to help you people. I think that's why they are businessmen. I think that's the logic behind it. You know, it says a restaurant in this place, another restaurant in the other place, all of them are for Haji. So, that's why when we are bringing the first one, there is no field yet, so bringing it, no work is done. But to bring in a second one, which we can call Q2, an amount of work is done. It's done, given by W1 is equal to Q2 V1 at position P2. And it is true, it is really true that to bring in a second one, you have to do a lot of work. And sorry, is I think a hassle with the Hajis. I don't know what trick they use, but there is always a consensus at the end of the day. So this is where V1P is the electric potential due to Q1 and P2 is the position where Q2 is placed. Thus, we would have that the work done W2, I think this should be still W1, isn't it? It should be still W1 is equal to, now if I substitute for V1, this would be Q2. V is equal to Q over 4 pi epsilon naught, or I can say is equal to K Q1 over R, which would be the position, and that would be R what? R12, because you are talking of the position from charge 1 to the position P2, which is the position of charge 2. So we will have this as being K Q1 over R12, and let's call this one equation 1. I think I have explained so much, so let me now do the, let me run through. So where R12 is the distance between Q1 and Q2, and the K is the constant, which is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught, which is about 9 times 10 to the power 9. Now to bring in the procedure which I will explain, to bring in the third charge, Q3, the amount of work done, W2, I will call it W2, because surely W1 was working against Q1, I will call this one W2, is equal to Q3 V12 P3, just this is the brackets to show the position, where V12 is the electric potential due to charges Q1 and Q2 respectively. So the Haji will do the amount of convincing of the two Hakis at home. And that's the kind of work that he will do. The work he will do is to convince the other two Hakis. Either you will tell them, you are too brown, and just to change on the test, I need to get a dark one. I don't know what these guys tell them. Anyway, I used the example of one shop in where ladies. What do you think the Hajj can tell you to convince you to get Or wife.
In terms of producing, spare parts. Producing only
Then he will tell you, let's try for the last time and see whether it is a god. Now how many I will produce? You continue convincing you. Let's try. I feel these days the ovaries could produce a girl. The one with boys. So that can't be a reason. When you grow up, you will know what I'm talking about. Diagrammatically, we can say that if we have this system of charges being Q1, Q2, so this is 1, 2. No, this, if we take this to be 3, this is Q1, R1, 3. This is Q2, R2, 3. This is R1, 2. Thus, we have that W3 is equal to, no, W2. I now substitute for the V1. So the W2 is equal to Q1, okay? And the V12 is the sum of potential is a scalar. So the V12 being potential of charge 1 and potential due to charge 2, we just sum them up. So we have that this is Inu V1 plus V2, which is Q1 over R13 plus Q2 over R23. And this is our equation 2. Did I use Roman or numerals? I can't rewind, but I used the R, yeah? So this is 2. Yes, please.
Is it not a Q3 outside?
Yeah, this is a Q. Thank you. Similarly, so why are the guys hating? To bring Q4 in a region, to bring the fourth circuit in a region where Q1. So similarly, to bring Q4 in a region where Q1, Q2 and Q3 are already existing, then your work done is W4 is equal to Q4 Inu Q1 over R14 plus Q2 over R24 and plus Q3 over R2, 3, 4. So that's why we have the 4 common, because for Q1, when you bring in Q4, Q1 will try to, if you bring another Haki who is brown like the other one who was there, you say, but what did you look into that one? So you have to explain maybe the then if then you bring a fourth one, that fourth one, the Haki too also ask, but I have this, now why is that one for? You have to look for something else. Then the 3 also says, but why I have the long hair? Why did you have to bring? Then you have to explain something. This is why we are having the 4 having effects from 1, 2, and 3. If I brought a 4th one, assuming this is our 4th one, and we can draw another diagram, so this would be, if this is our Q2, so this would be R14, this would be R12, this would be R24, then this would be 3, 4, this would be 1, 3, 1, 4, so the diagram is still done. Thus, total work done to assemble the first 4 charges. So this would be W1 plus W2 plus W3. And we can substitute. I remember the K will be common on both of them. And then we have Q1, Q2 over R12. Remember for when we had Q1, V1, whereby V1 was caused by introduction of Q2. So we keep adding on, so it becomes Q1, Q3 when we introduce the 3. This would be R13 plus Q1, Q4 over R14, and then it will be also Q2, Q4, and not 4. 2 now we go with 3, R23 plus Q2 goes with 4, R24, and then we are left with the 3 and 4. So we have Q3, 4. Have I had 1, 4? Yes. Q4 over R3, 4. And I will get this as equation. This was 2, this was 3, and then we have this one as equation 4. So I will say that to assemble this system of endpoint charge, these are only 4. But how about when we have to assemble n charges, then I will not really do it in total detail. So to assemble a system of that, you can go to Mwele and finish this part, because I don't want to take up your supper. Our work done would be the same as W1 plus W2 plus W3 plus Wn. And then our work done would be this. The details are in way, so that's why I'm trying to rush off. Would be equal to a half inu k summation up to n. So we have I equal to 1 and summation j equal to 1 up to n, qi, qj divided by rij, and you will never have a charge being introduced finding its own self. So you can never have I equal to, so with your I never equaling to, you can't have Q1, because the charge, you can't have such a thing. And the idea behind is that the factor, where the factor of a half this one we have introduced. Where the factor of a half is included so as not to count each part of the charges twice. So you shouldn't, the half helps us not to find ourselves having Q1, Q2, and also not to have Q1, Q2, and Q2, Q1. You understand? Not to count the two charges. So we shouldn't have a Q1, Q2 for R1, 2 being counted as a Q2, Q1, R2. That's why we introduce the half. Therefore, W will equal to a half. Just 1 second. Qi, and then we have summation J is equal to 1 up to N K Qj divided by R Ij, just to make sure that we can single out what we call the potential at point Pi, and our W will be equal to a half summation from I is equal to 1 up to N Qi V P I. This is for when you have point charges which are countable. And when they are countable, we say they are discrete. But when you have a continuous distribution of charge, that is a Haji who is very stubborn, that's why when on the barrier, when they are announcing children, you find even others are saying, also me I have his daughter, also me I have his son. That is for when you have a continuous distribution of charge, for continuous distribution of Hakis, for a continuous distribution of charge density, of charge density, rho, then we would have that the work done is equal to a half integral over the volume tau rho Vd tau. And this is called electrostatic energy. I think this would be a good spot to stop. Energy. So enjoy your evening.
With